Picture this. You decide to play a visual novel that you've heard of here and there and think, why not now? And you end up meeting this waifu that is just perfection. Detailed personality, wonderfully written storyline, and even the sensual scenes. Picasso's kisses, baby. Truly the tits. Now imagine during this visual novel, you accidentally pick an option that kind of comes off as meaningless to you. You don't think it's gonna affect the main storyline, like, be it, do I look at this notebook or do I look at this picture? And now your waifu? Strapped upside down on a table with a hose up her ass, shooting water, so much so that her shit is flying everywhere, and her body ends up being filled with so much water in her stomach that she explodes, and then her entrails end up all over you. And the details in the game aren't shy in telling you about it. And yeah, that's a game all right. And that game can be none other than Gore Screaming Show. Now, if you've been watching my channel for a while, it is no secret that I am a massive horror fan, be it manga, games, movies, and especially visual novels. And like the start of many videos like this, I had heard of this visual novel before, but didn't really know much about it. I definitely see it here and there because it is quite the cult following and quite high reviews. So I thought, hey, it's spoopy season, my favorite, why not just give it a whirl? And going into it, I really genuinely thought I was going to be getting a non-stop gore fest, just to kind of turn your brain off and just look at like, just killing and horror games. And although there is gore, the game was not at all what I anticipated. Not at all what I anticipated at all. And I wouldn't have been able to play this game and find that out if it wasn't for our sponsor, Jast. I've been wanting to play this game for ages, so thank you, Jast, for allowing me to do this and make a video about it. Jast, if you do not know, is an official English translated visual novel website where you can buy just English translated visual novels, and they are all amazing. They have so many, with so many different tags, so many different, options. If you don't want, something horror or something, scary based, they have a lot of romance ones, a lot of more all ages. They also have non-all ages ones, clearly. Links to Jast are in my description. Please be sure to check them out and check out all of their visual novels and show support to the official visual novel creators. Now, I'm gonna start off by saying this game was made by a company called Black Psych, which is also the same company that made the game Sadistic Blood. If you recall, I did a video on it, remember? It has that girl who gets her head cut off and then all of her nerves kind of removed, and she's kept alive because she's an eternal vampire, can't really die easily. And for some reason, they put vibrators on her nerves and like make her finish, and then they put acid on her. Yeah. So this game isn't really it's got that same vibe. It's not very tame. It is incredibly unhinged. So if you are thinking about watching the rest of this video or playing the game, please, be sure there's gonna be some dark stuff in it that's not for everybody. And if you're gonna play the game, please look at the tags beforehand. Now, like I said before, this game is incredibly unhinged. You do not know what you are signing up for initially, and that is part of the amazingness that it is. And the moment you kind of realize that is in the beginning of the game. We start the beginning of the game seeing somebody get eaten by something we can't really see. And then we started kind of like after that, a very typical visual novel that's a dating sim. We see a high school student named Kyoji go back to his old childhood town that he used to be in 3 years previous. And there we meet 3 familiar faces that you probably recognize from the front cover. Akane, our hard-headed, responsible childhood friend who seems to have some sort of wariness about you. Aoi, a quiet, withdrawn girl who's incredibly depressed. And your childhood friend as well. And third, Misono, a girl that you previously went to school with before you came back to your school in this town. For some reason, her family decided to move to this random backwater town, even though you kind of initially went to school with her in the city like a year previous. She's known for being very beautiful and elegant. Now, those are your main selects, and you pretty much have to choose right away which one you're going to woo, because you can't be switching midway. It's impossible. First option, and you're kind of locked in. Now, on the way to our first day of school back, we meet a young girl named Yuka and her monster, Gore. Now, the first few hours of the game play exactly like a traditional dating sim. Like, if I didn't see the beginning of the game, someone being eaten, I would have thought I just downloaded a typical romantic dating sim. But as you grow closer to whatever girl you choose, the horror becomes a bit more intense. But we don't really get to learn much story-wise. We find out that the girl Yuka is stalking us and is obsessed with us, and that she wants any girl or anybody that is near you tortured and killed. And that's all we really know until you complete all 3 main girls' paths. After that, 2 secret paths open up. And those 2 paths show the main storyline. They uncover all of the dark secrets and reveal, what's going on. But until Until then, the main story is essentially you pick a girl, go on some dates, get to know her a bit, woo, wine and dine her, while also trying to ensure that a demon that is controlled by an obsessive yandere lolly doesn't, kill the person that you love. And let me tell you, it's really goddamn easy to let that demon kill the person that you love. Because it takes one bad choice, just one in the game, to get a bad ending. And the choices can be fairly innocuous. In fact, you can get their hearts and make them like you super, you can do no wrong. However, it can lead to the most drastic of endings. And the game is so super good at making these characters likable, which I was not prepared for, genuinely, because each girl feels like a genuinely real relationship. We go into past traumas. We go into, overcoming depression, overcoming childhood trauma that still affects them to this day. They open up to you. They make you feel like they're genuinely human people. They're going through real things. They talk like real people. And, everything about them is it just feels nice. It feels sweet, and it's hard to dislike any of them. But then you get that one wrong choice and they are brutally murdered. Like, for example, there was one scene I didn't call out to her because I didn't think, it mattered. I didn't think there was something else going on that I was more interested in the game. And then just for that one wrong option, the next scene at the end that I found out was that our love interest is hanging cut in half upside down on the ceiling, and we're getting BJ being forced to look up at our dead loved one with bits of her flesh falling into our mouths. And we could taste the flesh. And it's very detailed. It will kill you because the writing in this game is it's everything. And it's fucking insane. You do not know where you're going, what's going to happen. It feels like this person's writing something and they are just writing, the most obscene things that pop into their head, but it comes off brilliantly. There are some balls to the wall, random stuff that will happen that's horrific, but I can't help but laugh because it just came out of nowhere. Now, for example, there's a scene, and this one just made me personally laugh. This is not horrific or anything. It's just you're having a very innocent, normal conversation in public, just sitting on a bus station bench, and then you and the love interest just start 69ing out of nowhere. It's just I just out of nowhere. That one's not horror based, but that still makes me laugh. I had to put that in there. Now, the lewd act, the etchy bit of the game is very vanilla, surprisingly. Now, there's not really any animalistic or deep down and dirty acts that are done with the main character exactly. And it wouldn't really suit the game if it did, because this game is all about overcoming adversity with your love interest. The sensual scenes are incredibly honey sweet, very well written, and it feels like love. It's very wholesome. This game was made in 2004, so the art is a little bit dated, but I can promise you, in terms of the act, or in terms of the way your love interest body is drawn, perfect. Including I was surprised by the details on the cooch. They show you everything, okay? This is not censored. They are some of the best drawn cooches I've seen, okay? And that's saying something. Don't be distracted by the massive Y2K anime eyes, okay? Just look at those titties and you will see what I mean. Now, there is vanilla sex, as mentioned before, there is also a lot of gore. I mean, it is the game's namesake. Well, that's the monster, but still. And the gore is quite imaginative. For example, there's an ending where all of the main love interests get brutally killed. Akane's head is ripped off while being assaulted by tentacles. And even though her head is ripped off, her body just keeps coming. Kind of reminds me of the sadistic blood thing. Misono has her body ripped in half, is kept alive, so she can see that her bottom lower half is getting assaulted by tentacles. And not just in the cooch and, butt area, but also they're going inside, the stomach part and going under her skin and shit. And it's so detailed. They're in all of her wounds. There is NTR, self-cessed, quite a bit of inflation and poop. And almost every single gore scene, the girls do die by coming to death. Now, either they explode from something or get ripped apart or something, or they just literally just die from just coming so much. Their heart just gives out or something. Especially during the orgy scenes, there is a lot of that, a lot of coming to death, a lot of it. Suppose there are worse ways to go. And there have been, especially in this game. And it doesn't really help during the whole thing, considering the music in this game is terrifying. It is one of the best OSTs I've ever heard in any visual novel. This one song, I'm gonna play it for you, and it just leaves me like, no matter how many times I heard it, I'm like, I don't like what's happening. Now, like I said, this game does add a lot of personality, and one of the personalities I do genuinely enjoyed, I thoroughly loved, was Yuka's. Once again, you don't really know anything about her in the 3 main paths, but every single time she shows up, be it to try to kill the person you love, or just to show up, she is so fucking sassy. There is no chill with her. Yanderes are usually very unhinged and angry and violent. She just adds like a good little bit of sass in there. A little too much, but I love it. You need it. For example, if you're doing the Aoi path, she says right when she meets Aoi, like she's reading her mind, "You wish you could disappear because you're so boring." Yeah, I would too if I were like you. Like, damn, bitch! She was just standing there! And another thing that I really loved about this game was that everybody was so mean to Aoi. Like, every single person calls her useless and ugly. There's a scene where she randomly just changes her hairstyle one day, you know, hoping to impress us, the main character, and everybody in the class just dog piles on her. It just made me laugh. It was just something random in there that I just had to throw in. I added some comedy in a very gory situation. Now, this is a super good game that definitely relies before on the gore on a very atmospheric setting, even though there is still quite a bit of shocking deaths. But one of the things that surprised me the most about this game is it doesn't rely on the gore shock factor too much. It relies mostly on getting to know the characters and falling in love with them, and then, seeing them die probably. It's different. It's 100% super different to your typical psychological horror visual novels because this is 100%, it seems like a good bit of romance. And I've never played a visual novel like that in my life where you can thoroughly romance a girl, love her character, and then, there's also a bit of horror involved. Because you learn so much about these characters, you build a rapport with them, and then, you're really hoping you don't murder them. While playing this game, I found myself throughout the entire day thinking about it, wondering what was going to happen next. Did I pick the right options? Jesus Christ, I hope I didn't make Akane die. I would be thinking about it every single time I was out, when I was scripting for other videos, and I got excited every single time I got to pull it back up on my computer and figure out what was going to happen next. Completing this game took me about... The duration says 30 hours. I think it was about that amount of time. So it's quite a longer game, but you invest so much of yourself into it, it just flies by like that. The gore was unhinged, and the writing could sometimes be unhinged. That's the perfect word to describe this game, is unhinged, but Jesus, was it fun? Was it mortifying and scary, but also loving and wholesome? What kind of combination is that? What kind of mix is that? Makes no goddamn sense, but Jesus, was it so much fun. Seriously, loved the game, loved all of it. I want to play, I definitely think this is one of Black Psych's best games, so especially for the writing alone, and you would be missing out 110% if you didn't give this game a try yourself. It's gonna keep you up at night. You're gonna be thinking about the eyeballs in the sky. You're gonna be thinking about what the hell the storyline's gonna lead up to, because you're not gonna guess it, I promise. And most of all, you're gonna be thinking about how well detailed those cooches are. That's all I'm thinking about. Either way, thank you, Jast, for sponsoring this video. Once again, I love it. Please make sure to check out the links to Jast in my description because they are amazing and they provide so much English visual novels. Amazing. Love it. Thank you guys for watching this video. Happy Halloween. Please be sure to check out all of my other videos. And if you are thinking about supporting this channel, please check out my Patreon, which is links in the description. Thank you guys again. And I'm just gonna f off here. All right. Bye.